big story was Tiger Woods,
yes.
right? And so it seems like every year...
And a year before, Elliot Spitzer and all the rest, you know.
You know, and the unfortunate thing here is you're almost like waiting for the next one to pop. Like all of these men seem to have the same trajectory almost to this point of success. In the case of the former chief here, I mean, he had a reputation that preceded him. In fact, he was running for the president of France. And he was expected to be a big contender to Sarkozy. And now look, I mean, he has got the latest allegations against him now basically prove the case. They found DNA, it matches. There are other people who are corroborating his past behaviors. He's done. He's basically done. Parallel to this international story, our own domestic story about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. The man had a reputation that preceded him. In fact, during his last election cycle, these rumors came up, and he somehow got over it. And here he is, 10 years later, you find out that not only did he have an affair, he had a kid right there, living almost under the same roof.
And he was supporting the kid.
He was. I mean, you see the level of hypocrisy that exists in that kind of dualistic existence. And I read an article on Time magazine about why. An explanation, if you will, as to why men are pigs. A study set to be published in Psychological Science found that the higher men or women rose in a business hierarchy, the more likely they were to consider or commit adultery. With power comes both opportunity and confidence, the authors argue, and with confidence comes a sense of sexual entitlement. If fame and power make sex more constantly available, the evolutionary biologists explain it may weaken the mechanism of self-restraint we impose on teenage boys through layers of socialization which can erode. I mean, wow.
Wait. Those were a lot of words. Let me explain in like a layman's term, street language, you know. Look, when people are growing up in the college and schools, they have a lot of time to do trash talking. But when you become very important and high up in a position, the time of the trash talking and others becomes very small. And I really believe that men, you know, everybody, including women, everyone has a tendency to stray when they're very, very good for a few days or a few months or a few years.
But
everybody wants to do bad things. And that's just what happened.
What you do learn, though, through these kinds of stories is that women somehow, in some ways, enable these men by not speaking up along the way, right? I mean, in the case of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the former chief, you had allegations, history, well-substantiated history, and yet people overlooked, they looked past it, and they somehow allowed the situation to persist until it hit such a critical point that you had such severe allegations placed against him, and finally the man is arrested. In the case of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, unfortunately, it's his wife and his family who are going to take the brunt of this.
Yeah, but you know, in France, this is not looked at as a character deficiency. And in Hollywood, it is also not looked at as a character deficiency. So you have a place and you have type of people who actually, use that as an excuse to do things that they do.
Well, funny you should say that, actually. Time magazine also talked about how perceptions in the French government are starting to change because women are starting conversations around what is considered inappropriate sexual conduct, not just in the social media, in the business world. I think you're going to see a cultural evolution now take place in France, and this kind of story just helps.
This next story is from Forbes magazine. It's about a professor who's whining. His name is Steven Salzberg, and he's asking why medical schools should not teach integrative medicine. Basically, you know, you ever heard lately acupuncture is being taught, homeopathy medicine is being taught, and yoga medicine and the others that go along with it.
Medicine.
Yeah, the alternative medicine is what they call it. It's getting very popular. University of Maryland has actually gotten itself in the curriculum. And that is bothering Professor Steven Salzberg, and he is whining in the Forbes magazine and saying that really should not be there. As a professor, I'm disturbed that this is moving into the medical curriculum at respectable medical schools, including University of Maryland. Integrative medicine, acupuncture, homeopathy, reflexology, Reiki, and Qigong, all of them are, well, nonsense, according to him.
I think that's a bit strong, and I think he's going to get himself probably not well liked by having that kind of provincial thinking. You know, medicine to me, modern medicine, is relatively new still. And if you think about it, it's a couple of 100 years old at most, where we've got modern medicines like aspirin and all these various kinds of prescriptions. They've been lab tested to speed up the cycle to understand how this drug affects your body. It's a very quick turnaround, quick impact on the body. So we've all run behind it and embraced it. But with these homeopathic medicines, allopathic medicines, they have been practiced for thousands of years. They've had a much larger sample set of people to try and fail with to get the facts right. We've only had a few hundred in these clinical trials. So what's wrong with integrating this old kind of thinking?
You know, in a way, you're right. Remember these research companies, when they are experimenting with a drug, they always give the candidates a placebo as well as the research drug. And sometimes placebo has a better effect too. It's just because
psychological.
The faith. The faith that you have that, you know, doctor has given me a medicine, it's got to be good. Doctor has given me homeopathic sweet pills, yeah, that's got to be good. Or acupuncture and all of that. But in the real medicine world, you need to do research. That has to be approved by your peers. And that's how, in a big country, when you're going to experiment on 100 million people, 200 million people, you know, you want to have medicine that's proven. And he's right in a way. But that doesn't mean all of this should go away.
I disagree. I think medicine, we have barely scratched the surface of understanding the human body. So we understand it from more than one dimension. We have the modern medicine way of looking at it. We have old world mechanisms of looking at it. As long as it achieves the outcome, which is a person feels better, is healthier, so what? Let these things fold into the practice.
You know, from that point of view, NIH has given money to test the acupuncture, homeopathy, and all of that. But that doesn't make it real. This is what he says in the end, after arguing about a poor study on acupuncture for which the University of Maryland released a press release. So he's saying, I don't know if the dean believed that press release, but someone ought to tell him that integrative medicine has no place in a 21st century medical curriculum. I guess I just told him. That's Professor Steven Salzberg.
I wonder how many people he's going to hear back from. As a matter of fact, we want to know what you think. This is a great opportunity to get some viewer feedback, so please email us at darshan@darshan.tv.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Talking about feedback, we received some last week on our story where we said that the civil servant's retirement pension is on the chopping block. So somebody said that, you know, I of course said, I don't know how much they contribute. And Rajendra Singh, he says to me that for civil service, which is for CRS, an employee's contribution to the civil service retirement is 7% of gross pay.